that any law that imposes an additional burden on the taxpayer should ideally be prospective in nature. Retrospective meaning to a provision should only be made to correct some law to the benefit of the taxpayer. So retrospective, it can happen only if it is to the benefit of the taxpayer. Now we come to a very famous judgment, VKC Footsteps India Private Limited. First, we will discuss what happened in this judgment. Held explanation A of Rule 89.5 is held to be contrary to the provision of Section 54.3, and net ITC should mean input tax credit availed on inputs and input services. So, like I said, okay, now I'll just read forward. Once condition of input is more than output rate is satisfied, refund of any unutilized ITC can be allowed. Rule restricting the refund to inputs ultra vires the Act, which allows full refund. Explanation 89.5 restricting to input service to be severed and read down. So what it is saying that since my Act here, as I said, the Act says that once I fulfill the condition that the rate of input is higher than the rate of output, then I should be allowed to claim a refund of any unutilized input tax credit. So then how can the rule restrict the net ITC to only inputs? Okay, so it says that therefore this rule is has been read down. Okay, so in this case, input tax credit would mean inputs and input services. Now one might think that this unutilized input tax credit can be now input services and also capital goods. Yes, it should also be capital goods, but however, in this court, that was not argued. So for the time being, we don't have any judgment on that. Okay. Now, based on this judgment, can a taxpayer take refund of input services? So now what happened was after this judgment was pronounced, shortly a contrary decision was taken in Madras High Court, where they had upheld the rule. Okay. Also, the Gujarat High Court case, which was in the favor of the petitioner, and SLP has been filed against the same by the department. Okay, this SLP was filed on the 3rd of December. The SLP is pending for approval. Okay, so this is the current status of this judgment VKC Footsteps. Now, as a taxpayer, if today you want to claim a refund of input services, should you go for the same or not? So before you claim a refund of input services, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. Okay. One is that when you apply for a refund, the department will not sanction your refund. Why? Because the department has to adhere to the rules, and the rule restricts the net ITC to only inputs. So you will have to take the litigation path. So some cost will be involved in that. Also, when you file a refund application, you have to, through RFD 01, your electronic credit ledger gets debited. You have to keep that thing in mind also, that for a certain period of time, till the case is finally disposed of, that amount will get blocked. Okay. Now, however, if you wait for the Supreme Court and if the matter comes in favor to the taxpayer, and then you decide to go ahead and claim refund of input services, you need to know that your claim will be restricted to only those refunds that are not time barred. Okay. Now, coming on to various other things, like what refund under input. Hello.
Yes, Deepak ji, please unmute yourself and share your views. Do you want to say something, Deepak ji? Deepak Guha. Okay, sir, please go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Now let us discuss what the inverted duty structure encompasses within itself and what it doesn't. Okay. Where both input and output are of the same nature, but there is a reduction in GST rate. So what happens is now if you can, I'll just tell you an illustration. An applicant is trading in goods, has purchased goods say X attracting 18%. However, subsequently the rate on X has been reduced to say 12%. Okay, so now he is a trader. So whatever he purchases is what he sells. The rate has gone down from 18% to 12%. Now, just because there is a timing difference, like he must be having some ITC which is accumulated. Okay, so now the new purchases that he would make would also be 12, but he would still have some accumulated ITC, previous ITC. So can he claim a refund of that? No, he cannot claim a refund of that just because there is a timing difference, because the basic condition that needs to be satisfied in case of refund under inverted duty structure is that the rate of tax on input should be higher than the rate of tax on output supplies. Okay. Then second is where the rate of input and output is same, but accumulation is on account of input services, can refund be claimed under inverted duty structure? So after VKC footsteps, a lot of people started asking this question. I have accumulation of input services which is at a higher rate. So can I take a refund of the under inverted duty structure? And the answer for the same is no, because the basic condition is that input should be higher than the rate of output. If your input is higher than the rate, or if the input is at the same rate as output, but you have some input services which are of higher rate, then you cannot claim refund under the inverted duty structure. Okay. Now, where one input is at 5% and the other is 18%, whereas the output is 12%, will refund under inverted duty structure be allowed? So yes, if there is a positive refund. So here you can see that my output is at 12%. I have two inputs. One is at a higher rate, one is at a lower rate. But then what the department said was that, or even in the Act, there is no such restriction. Once you purchase something, it all becomes a part of the electronic credit ledger. So once you apply the formula and if you get a positive refund amount, then yes, you can claim a refund. Now we come to withholding of refund. Section 5410 of the CGST Act. Now what does section 5410 of the CGST Act say? Where any refund is due under subsection 3. Subsection 3 is just refund on account of unutilized input tax credit. Okay, to a registered person who has defaulted in furnishing a return or who is required to pay any tax, then the proper officer, if my amount of refund is lower than the demand, higher than the demand, sorry, then he will ask me to furnish my returns and he will ask me to pay the amount that I have not paid, or else he will adjust the amount that is payable from my refund dues. Okay. Now, if you see section 5410 uses the words any person who is required to pay tax. Okay. Now, similar words required to pay tax are also used in section 79. Section 79 deals with recovery of tax. Now, what had happened was that under this, a department started withholding the tax which they thought is payable started recovering tax from taxpayers where they felt that the amount is payable by the person. Thereafter, there was a judgment, very famous judgment, Mahadev Construction Company versus Union of India, High Court, Jharkhand. Here, it was held that liability. So this case was where the assessee, where the interest was charged on gross. There was this time where department was raising demand under Section 79 on gross output tax liability instead of net tax liability. So then this demand was raised under 79, and then the matter went to the High Court, and it was held over there that liability of interest was required to be adjudicated in the event an assessee disputes computation or very levy of the same by initiating of adjudicating proceedings under Section 73 or 74. Thus, without initiation of adjudicating proceedings, no recovery under Section 79 could be initiated for recovery of interest amount. Okay. So now what? So the words used are required to pay. So now what is required to pay? A required to pay would be something that is assessed by the taxpayer if it's self-assessed, or the matter is adjudicated. Okay, as you can see in Mahadev Construction, where there was a dispute as to what amount the taxpayer is liable to pay, the High Court, Honorable High Court, said that then it needs to be adjudicated. So a tax can be said to be payable only once it has been finally settled. So what was happening was that when this gross and net thing was going on, the debate was going on whether interest is to be paid on gross liability or net liability. At that time, they would give a show cause notice, asking that why your refund should not be withheld as you have not paid your liability on gross amount. Like we should charge interest on gross amount, whereas you have paid interest on net amount. So similar case can come in future also, and these case laws can come to our rescue. Okay, now we come to refund in case of higher duty drawback.
So, Bankaji, may we ask our questions, or should we wait till the end of the session?
No. In between will be much better. I think if Sneha is comfortable.
Yeah.
Shivani ma'am, particularly you are not allowed to ask the question. You have to enlighten the topic.
No, sir, मेरे को तो really because Sneha, just two questions. So you discussed about the refund under inverted duty structure. So one question there is supply to merchant exporters, which are happening at a concessional rate of 0.1%, that gets covered under the inverted duty structure.
So if you are supplying to a merchant exporter, you can avail the benefit. Yeah, you can avail the benefit of 0.05 plus 0.05.1. So here the supplier can take refund under inverted duty structure. Yes. Also, the recipient can also take a refund.
Right.
The recipient would mainly
from the
export.
Supplier's perspective, or supply under. Sorry, go ahead.
That recipient would mainly be in exports. So, जो भी छोटा मोटा amount he has paid that also he can take as refund.
Okay. So in other words, from the supplier's perspective, who's actually supplying to the merchant exporter, falls well within the ambit of refund under inverted duty. Right? Yeah,
I think, but even the recipient and the supplier can take and
Okay, now just one more question. You spoke about withholding of refund.
But that he has to apply separately, the supplier.
Yes, okay. Now, the second question. was on withholding of refunds. Now you spoke that till the demand, what I understood through your deliberations is that till your demand is not crystallized, the officer is not really well within his powers to withhold the refund. So
Yes.
say for instance, just wanted your thoughts on this, that if there is an ongoing investigation by a parallel authority, say for example, an anti-evasion unit, and the assessor also has a pending refund application before his jurisdiction officer. So is the jurisdictional officer right within his capacity to withhold the refund in lines of what has been cited in the case of Mahadev Constructions?
I think he should refund the amount, and then later on, if he is held to be guilty, then they can, raise a demand, a different demand. But right now, since it's not adjudicated, I don't think that there can be any withholding of refund.
Okay, thank you so much. And the citation of the case would be there in your presentation, right?
The citation is not there, but I can give you.
Maybe towards after the deliberation, you could just share it with the team, and then we could all get our hands on it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Yes, in between I am just want to add something.
Yeah.
आप जो मैडम क्वेश्चन रेज कर रही है ना कि अपना रिफंड का, शिवानी मैम आप जो बोल रही है ना, कि अपना जो रिफंड अपना ड्यू अगर है और रिफंड पैरेलली कोई एग्जीक्यूशन भी चल रहा है, उसमें कुछ डिमांड बन रहा है, तो प्रैक्टिकली हम लोगों ने देखा है कि फिर वो रिफंड अलाउ करते नहीं है, होल्ड कर लेते हैं उसको।
नहीं कर रहे सर, इसलिए मैं थोड़ा सा वो थी, बट लॉ में ऐसा,
बट 5411 में लेकिन लिखा हुआ है कि if they feel that there is, if it would be detrimental, then they would not sanction it.
करेक्ट। तो वो 5411 का ही उसका वो लोग बेस बना करके उसको होल्ड कर लेते हैं।
ओके।
हाँ, क्योंकि वो भी रहता है सर, एंड वो प्रैक्टिकली आपने बहुत सही बोला है कि वो लोग देते नहीं है। इनफैक्ट यहाँ पे तो हम लोग ऐसे भी केसेस देख रहे हैं जहाँ पे आपने रिफंड क्लेम किया था और आपको रिफंड सारा है, लेटर यू फाउंड दैट आपने कुछ एक्सेस क्लेम किया तो आपने डीआरसी कर दिया, और अभी वो आगे का सारा रोक के रखे हैं कि आप हमें रीफिगर्स को वापस रिकैलकुलेट करके दीजिए और तब हम आगे का आपका रिफंड देंगे।
एग्जैक्टली ये एक्चुअल में क्या है कि वो लोग अपने मतलब बियॉन्ड द लॉ जाके काम कर रहे हैं इस चीज को। इवन मतलब जिसका एग्जीक्यूशन भी नहीं हुआ है उसकी क्रेडिट ब्लॉक कर देना, उसके रिफंड को रोक लेना, ये कहीं भी लॉ में लिखा हुआ नहीं है।
राइट,
प्रैक्टिकल जो आप बता रहे हैं मैम वैसे ही हो रहा है, वो लोग अपने मन से कर रहे हैं इस चीज को।
और रिफंड तो ब्लॉक ऐसे करके रखे हैं वो लोग कि बस, और कोई मेरे को तो समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है कि बिकॉज ये सारा को वो लिंक कर देता है, रिफंड को, ब्लॉकिंग ऑफ क्रेडिट को, प्लस आपका पैरेलल इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रहा है तब उसको भी वो लोग कर देते हैं। तो Sneha, one more question. You mentioned that input service.
I would like to add कि 7411 में भी the lines used are the commissioner. 5411 में भी lines used are the commissioner is of the opinion that grant of such refund is likely to adversely affect the revenue. So I think the commissioner also needs to form an opinion here.
ओके, एंड जस्ट वन क्वेश्चन स्नेहा, आपने अभी मेंशन किया कि इनपुट सर्विसेज का और इनपुट्स को लेकर, एंड देन यू सेड दैट ऑब्वियसली देयर वुड बी लिटिगेशन, तो जहां पे अपनी क्लैरिटी नहीं थी और अगर अपने उसको क्लेम कर ले, देन द एंटायर रिफंड फॉल्स विद इन द एम्बिट ऑफ लिटिगेशन, और वुड यू रेकमेंड कि केवल अपने इनपुट को लेकर आगे बढ़े और इनपुट सर्विसेज को छोड़ दें?
Actually, it totally depends. Like I said, that can that person afford to debit the electronic credit ledger by that entire input amount till it is finally disposed of, because now the matter is in Supreme Court. So jab tak wo judgment nahi aayega, we will not get any answer. And also there is going to be a cost that is going to be involved in litigation. So it depends whether the taxpayer is comfortable with that.
Sneha ma'am, can we have one option like this? Suppose we have applied for the input and input services both, right? And department will definitely issue RFT 02 and then again RFT 09, right?
Right.
And in RFD 08, if you reply like that, okay, allow me the refund of input tax credit only, reducing after the services portion. And in line of this High Court judgment or Supreme Court pending judgment, we will claim on later on. Right now, you just credit this. I will not file appeal against this excess credit. तो कम से कम ये अपने ये रहेगा कि अपने डिपार्टमेंट को इंटीमेट करके रखे, तो टाइम लाइन में अगर एक्सपायर कर जाएगी टाइम लिमिट, तो वहां पे प्रॉब्लम खड़ा हो जाएगा.
हाँ.
Okay.
तो सर वो पार्टली देते हैं क्या ऐसे, और पार्टली जो रिजेक्ट करेंगे आप अपील में चले जाएं?
नहीं, अपील में नहीं जाएंगे हम. अपील, क्योंकि PMT 03 तब तक वो नहीं देगा जब तक आप अंडरटेकिंग नहीं देती कि हम अपील नहीं कर रहे हैं इसका.
हाँ.
ओके.
तो आप रूल 93 देखो, उसे जो अपने जो रिक्रेडिट का जो रूल है, उसमें आपसे अंडरटेकिंग लेते हैं कि आप अपील नहीं करेंगे तो मैं रिक्रेडिट करने वाला हूं, अदरवाइज होल्ड पे रखूंगा.
ओके.
नहीं तो ठीक है, अपने अपील में जाए और वो उतना को विथहोल्ड करके रखे. बात ये मैं पूछ रही हूँ कि इनपुट का आपको दे दे, इनपुट सर्विसेज के लिए जब अपन अपील पे जाएंगे उतने दिन वो उसको विथहोल्ड करके रखें, तो दिक्कत कहाँ है उस ऑप्शन में?
नहीं, दो ऑप्शन है ना मैम. एक है कि मान लीजिए मैं सर्विस का पैसा रिक्रेडिट नहीं कराता हूँ, तो मेरा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर शॉर्ट हो गया उतना अमाउंट से. अगर मेरे पास सफिशिएंट क्रेडिट अवेलेबल है कि जिसको फ्यूचर में यूज नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, तब तो आपकी बात सही है. लेकिन इन केस अगर मान लीजिए मेरे पास इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट में भी उतना पैसा नहीं बचता जिसमें मैं अफोर्ड कर सकूं, उसको रिक्रेडिट नहीं करवा के चलता है मेरा, तो फिर ये सेकंड ऑप्शन भी ऑप्ट कर सकते हैं. अपने रिक्रेडिट करवाने के लिए उसको अंडरटेकिंग देकर के करवा सकते हैं इस चीज को.
अच्छा.
व्हाट्स योर व्यू, गगन यू आर हियर, I also welcome Venugopal sir. I have just seen him. What is the view of the others experts? Gagan, Subham.
My view is it should be kept alive as a part of your litigation. Maybe you need to file it. Partial refund he will grant, and for the balance amount you need to keep it under litigations at High Court stage. You get a relief order in your name, and then probably he'll grant you refund for it.
Right. तो इसमें जैसे एक ऑप्शन तो जो शिवानी मैम बोल रही है कि अपने को उसको रिक्रेडिट नहीं कराना चाहिए और वो अपना लिटिगेशन में पेंडिंग रहेगा.
That is what I also believe.
Yes, this is the first option. And suppose if
subject to कि आपकी कोई डोमेस्टिक आउटपुट नहीं हो सर.
करेक्ट है. और अगर सपोज करिए वहां पे लगता हो कि रिक्रेडिट करा करके अपने उसको अपील नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन ये अंडरटेकिंग दे दे कि भाई अगर मेरे को वहां से रिलीफ मिलती है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई जजमेंट आता है, तो उसको मैं रीफाइल करूंगा मैं. तो व्हाट इज द ऑप्शन? वेनु सर बोल रहे हैं सर, आंसर इज केस टू केस, कैन नॉट बी स्ट्रेट आंसर इफ देयर इज नो क्रेडिट लॉस. ठीक है.
अगर क्रेडिट नहीं है तो देयर इज नो, आई वुड जनरली सजेस्ट यू फाइल द डिक्लेरेशन नॉट क्लेमिंग द, नॉट गोइंग फॉर अपील. If 90%, 95%, whatever the refund is sanctioned, balance is rejected credit comes back to the credit ledger, it can be used for some other purposes.
Right.
And so if one does not have any domestic output in such case?
Exactly. So that is what I would say, that it is a case to case, and if you feel that you have a chance to win and go for appeal is better. Otherwise, because there's a cost of fighting an appeal and other things, you have to go to the commissioner and the hearing. Anyhow, it is blocked. It is not paid. The balance refund will also be not paid unless you give this declaration that you are not going for appeal.
Right.
So in all our cases, I know that it can be used for some other the setup. We submit the declaration and the amount gets credited back to the electronic credit ledger.
Yes.
So in the first place, you actually apply for the refund. Are you suggesting that?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, most of the inverted duty structure credits refunds are rejected, saying input services, because in the initial periods the refunds were applied. Okay. That is one area. Capital goods classification missing in 2A. The various, he has all his reasons for rejecting some partial credits. As long as there is no credit loss, if you see the 2 years period is expiring and it is say SEZ with payment of tax or exports with payment of tax, some documents deficiency, things like that, you want to keep it alive, you go for saying that appeal. So I like these cases, we need to know the pros and cons of both
Case to
aspects,
case
and
basis.
case to case is what we have to take.
Yes. Sneha ma'am, do you have some more enlightenment in inverted duty, or we are moving ahead with a different topic? You are muted. Please unmute.
No, I am moving with another topic.
Yes, please. Shivani ma'am, with your permission, can we move for the other topic, or still we need some discussion, more discussion on inverted duty? Yes, ma'am, please move ahead.
Okay, sir. Now, refund in case of higher duty drawback. So initially what was happening was that inadvertently exporters were choosing refund of like applying for higher duty drawback without knowing that they would not be allowed a refund. So a similar case happened in case of Amit Cotton Industries. Their refund was withheld by the department because they had claimed higher duty drawback. So the department said that the department had placed reliance on Circular 37 by 2018 of Customs, saying that this circular barred granting of refund where higher duty drawback was claimed. So then it was held by the Gujarat High Court that these circulars cannot override the statutory provisions. The only provision that is there to withhold the refund is Rule 96.4. Rule 96.4 has two parts. One is A, which we have already discussed, in which one is where a request has been received from the Commissioner of Central Tax, State Tax to withhold the payment due to a person in accordance with provisions of subsection 10. Now, subsection 10 we had already discussed. The slide is not working. Yeah. Subsection 10 we had already discussed, and 11 is where the order giving rise to refund is a subject matter of an appeal. Okay. And they feel that giving of refund would be detrimental, or in case the proper officer of custom determines that the goods exported were in violation of provisions of the Customs Act. So, since refund can be withheld only in accordance with Rule 96.4, the Honorable High Court said that no, you cannot withhold their refund just based on a circular. So this case law is very important because even for other wherever the department relies on the circular and there is no statutory provision to support that, this case law comes to our rescue. Similar was in Precourt Meridian, but Precourt Meridian had relied on Amit Cotton Industries itself. Okay, now issues in determination of relevant date. So we have already discussed section.
Sneha ma'am, एक minute. ये जो अपने right now you have pointed out regarding the export duty refund.
Yeah.
Does it mean that a department is supposed to hold my refund on the basis of high duty drawback? And is there any difference between section 54(3) proviso? You see,
okay,
in section
right.
50...
I got it. So you are saying in the 54(3) proviso, it says that you are not supposed to refund where you have already claimed higher duty drawback, right?
Right.
So there now, I'll just go to that section. There it says that provided also that no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed if the supplier of goods or services or both avails of drawback in respect of central tax or claims refund of integrated tax. So higher duty drawback means that you are somewhere claiming a portion of central tax itself, central
Yes.
tax also, right? So
Right.
here I feel that you can withhold where a request has been received by the commissioner. So the commissioner will direct that he has, since he has gone for higher duty drawback, he will not be allowed a refund. Now, in one of the cases which had happened with a client was that their refund got sanctioned even though they had availed higher duty drawback. Because there are only two clauses according to which you can hold the refund, 96(4) A and B. So the refund was sanctioned. Then thereafter they raise a demand saying that since you have taken higher duty drawback, that differential portion you give us back along with interest.
I think department has missed out a very good link
Yeah,
over here.
also this thing was like in the entire case law, this thing was not even argued. This point was not raised actually. They just said, the department said that we had raised reliance on this circular.
नहीं इसमें एक पॉइंट और भी है स्नेहा मैम.
अच्छा.
अपने ये हायर ड्यूटी का जो ऑप्शन था ना, दैट वाज अवेलेबल फ्रॉम द 1st of July to the till the 30th September, right? Only for the 3 months. From the 1st October there was no higher duty, right?
Okay.
अब ये देखिए, मैं अगर जुलाई महीना में कोई अगर एक्सपोर्ट करता हूँ और मैं हायर ड्यूटी क्लेम करता हूँ, तो ये जो एक्सपोर्ट हुआ है बेसिकली उसमें कोई सेंट्रल टैक्स का पेमेंट नहीं हुआ है, वो पुराना रिजीम से कैरी फॉरवर्ड होके आ रहा है.
ट्रांस से
नहीं, ट्रांस से नहीं, मेरा तो स्टॉक है ना 36 का.
ओके ओके.
The difference between the category A and category B, table A and table B under the Custom Act is that is the one is the containing only the import duty refund and second is containing the import duty plus excise duty paid under the earlier law.
Okay.
And that excise duty is replaced with this 54(3) proviso.
Right.
तो अब ये 30/6 को जो मेरा स्टॉक था, वेनु सर प्लीज लिसन टू मी एंड जस्ट इनलाइटेड ऑन दिस पॉइंट आल्सो, दैट 30/6 को जो मेरा स्टॉक था, जब मैं उसको जुलाई में या अगस्त में जब एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ, नेचुरली आई हैव नॉट अवेल्ड एनी सेंट्रल टैक्स ऑन दैट इन दैट रेस्पेक्ट. तो कैन द डिपार्टमेंट होल्ड माय रिफंड ऑन दिस ग्राउंड? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible भैया.
गगन समझ रहे हो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ?
हाँ भैया, एक बार आप फिर से बोलो.
एक्चुअल में एक क्या है ना, ये एक जैसे तुम देखो 54(3) का जो सेकंड प्रोविजो है, we read out like that, provided also that no refund of ITC shall be allowed if the supplier of goods or services or both avail the drawback in respect of central tax. Right. ड्रॉबैक किसका मिलता है? जब अपने एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं उसमें जो कंटेंट होता है एक्साइज ड्यूटी का या सेंट्रल टैक्स का या अपने इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी का, उसी का ड्रॉबैक मिलता है अपने को.
Yes.
तो हम जब 30/6 का जो स्टॉक था उसमें कोई सेंट्रल टैक्स तो था नहीं.
सेंट्रल टैक्स उस समय एक्साइज था ना,
सीजीएसटी तो नहीं था ना.
सेंट्रल टैक्स मतलब सेंट्रल टैक्स ऑफ जीएसटी नहीं था, बट सेंट्रल टैक्सेस के रूप में एक्साइज तो था ना.
हाँ, तो यहाँ पर रूप में था ना, यहाँ तो अर्थ लॉ तो बोला नहीं ना.
हाँ राइट.
तो यहाँ सेंट्रल टैक्स तो सीजीएसटी की बात कर रहा है, क्योंकि अपने को सीजीएसटी का रिफंड तो दे नहीं रहा है. और सीजीएसटी जो मैंने पेमेंट किया इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई, वो मेरा एक्सपोर्ट होगा अगस्त, सितंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर, कभी भी एक्सपोर्ट होगा.
राइट.
तो उस ग्राउंड पे क्या मेरा रिफंड होल्ड कर सकता है डिपार्टमेंट?
उस ग्राउंड पे
इफ आई एम एबल टू. हाँ, डिपार्टमेंट ने तो क्या किया ना, ये मैंने ये केस एक आर्ग्यू किया था कोयम्बटूर जाकर के, एंड फॉर्चुनेटली असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर एग्रीड विद दिस माय पॉइंट कि क्या देखो 30/6 को जो माल है उसका ही तो मैं ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक क्लेम कर पा रहा हूँ.
राइट.
तो मैं यहाँ, और जो मेरे को सेंट्रल टैक्स जो आप रिफंड दे रहे हैं, सीजीएसटी का जो आप मेरे को रिफंड दे रहे हैं इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई, अगस्त, सितंबर, ये तो मेरा जो उस मंथ में परचेज किया जो फ्यूचर में मैं एक्सपोर्ट करूंगा जिसमें मैं हाई ड्यूटी क्लेम नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं.
राइट.
तो ये अप्लाई कहाँ हो रहा है?
I got your point, but in case भैया, are you not bringing any transitional credit of your stock?
No, I am not bringing.
Okay, so that transitional credit के through it is not taking color of your central tax.
Correct.
Okay.
Sneha, am I clear? Sneha?
Wait, just give me 1 minute. I'm reading the fine line. Just give me 1 minute.
Yes, please. Sneha, do you got?
Yeah, yes. So actually, my screen or something is wrong. I'm just trying to set it.
No. Subham is here, na? Subham?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, Bhaiya. Can you hear me?
कुछ तो बोलो भाई.
सर मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लग रहा है डिपार्टमेंट का भी यहाँ पे गलत नहीं है. रीजन बीइंग यहाँ पे अब एज ऑन 30 जून जो स्टॉक इंपोर्ट हुआ था दैट वाज सब्जेक्ट टू एक्साइज ड्यूटी एंड दैट गॉट कन्वर्टेड इनटू जीएसटी जब ट्रांस में क्रेडिट कैरी फॉरवर्ड हुआ. Now, if I'm exporting goods,
no, Shubham, there are two situations. One, there is
हुआ.
transitional credit, and the other there is no transitional credit.
I am saying
even if there is no
transitional credit is not there.
transitional credit, it was utilized, right? Somewhere down the line,
No.
the ITC was utilized on that. जो भी stock था, that means उसका benefit मैं already enjoy कर चुका हूँ. So in
अगर
that case,
benefit तो
अपने जो excise का credit carry forward कर रहे हैं, and we are using it as central tax under GST. तो अगर हम रिफंड ले लेते हैं ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक का, हायर ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक का, इन दैट केस डिपार्टमेंट अगर मुझे दोनों चीज दे, हायर ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक भी दे और मुझे रिफंड भी दे, इन दैट केस इट विल बी अमाउंटिंग टू डबल बेनिफिट. सो आइडियली आई शुड
Subham,
बैक द ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक.
I am interrupting. Subham, I am interrupting. In case of duty drawback, ठीक है ना, तो जो भी हमारा इंपोर्ट का पेमेंट होता है या हमारा इसका एक्साइज का पेमेंट होता है, उसका मेरे को डायरेक्ट रिफंड, या तो मैं डायरेक्ट रिफंड लूं या डायरेक्ट रिफंड नहीं लेके ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक लूं, दोनों में एक ही मिलेगा.
करेक्ट, ठीक है.
तो मेरा क्या होता है, जब मैं ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक क्लेम करता हूं तो मेरे को बेसिकली उसमें जितना भी इनपुट्स है, चाहे वो इंपोर्ट में लगा हो या मेरा जो परचेज में एक्साइज में पैकिंग मटेरियल वगैरह में लगा हो, उसका मेरे को मिलता नहीं है, क्योंकि वो सेन्वेटेबल. अगर तुमने सेन्वेट ले लिया फिर ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक क्यों देगा तुमको?
बिल्कुल
2 बार तो देगा नहीं ना. तो 30/6 से पहले मेरा
जब मैंने सेन्वेट नहीं लिया तो मैंने, अच्छा आपका कहना है कि मैंने उसका सेन्वेट नहीं लिया, आपका कहना है कि हमने उसके ऊपर ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक हायर ले लिया, लेकिन हम
लेना था.
सर इसका एक्चुअली बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा प्रूव करना कि कौन सा स्टॉक जो अपने 1 जुलाई से लेकर 30 सितंबर तक एक्सपोर्ट किए हैं उसमें कौन सा अमाउंट वाज बिफोर 30 जून, कौन सा वाज आफ्टर 30 जून.
वो मेरा स्टॉक रजिस्टर बोलेगा ना.
हाँ,
मेरा स्टॉक रजिस्टर से प्रूफ करूंगा ना मैं.
सर हम लोग तो यहाँ पे वो बात कर रहे हैं जो गुड्स के ऊपर क्रेडिट हमने 1 जुलाई से लेकर 30 सितंबर के बीच में लिया, उसके ऊपर हम बात कर रहे हैं सिर्फ.
राइट, तो मैं उस पे नहीं,
स्टॉक में था नहीं एज ऑन 30 जून.
एग्जैक्टली. अब नाउ यू आर राइट ट्रैक. एक्चुअल में जितने भी ये साउथ में, वेनु सर यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट हैं, ही विल वॉच माय कमेंट, मैक्सिमम केस ये साउथ में हुए थे. एम आई ऑडिबल?
या यू आर ऑडिबल सर.
तो साउथ में यही एक क्वेश्चन उठा था कि ड्यूटी ड्रॉप वहीं से स्टार्ट हुआ था. ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक जिन लोगों ने डबल मतलब हायर रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी क्लेम किया है, उस मंथ में अगर उन लोगों का कोई भी रिफंड ऑफ आईजीएसटी, सीजीएसटी, एसजीएसटी है तो उस पे उन लोगों ने नोटिस किया था.
विकास भैया,
yes,
that valently cannot be a reason to reject, because as you have correctly mentioned, proviso पे जो बात करता है, it talks about input tax का refund सरकार नहीं देगा if I have availed drawback in respect of central tax. If I have claimed drawback, availed drawback in respect of central tax. Now, for the month of July, August, and September, if I can say that my higher rate of drawback was in respect of excise and not central tax, then that proviso is not affecting for July, August, and September. Provided your stock register, you can justify. That can be a very
perfect.
I argue.
Yes.
I second you.
Succinctly, I have argued that was.
तो फिर तो सेटल्ड प्रिंसिपल हो गया ना विकास भी, आपने जब आर्ग्यू कर ही लिया है तो.
हाँ, और उसी लाइन में कोर्ट्स के जजमेंट्स आ रहे हैं.
बोला ना आपने आर्ग्यू कर लिया, फिर तो सेटल्ड प्रिंसिपल ऑफ लॉ है.
ठीक है,
हम लोग रेफरेंस दे देना, आप वो ऑर्डर का हम लोग नाम दे देंगे.
Okay, boss. Yeah,
But
please go ahead.
agreed with your point, sir. अपने को है ना somewhere down the line from 1st Jan to 30th September, we maybe FIFO basis या LIFO basis, just whatever it is, we have to prove कि हमने जो भी export किया था उसके ऊपर हमने after 1st July किया था उसके ऊपर खाली higher duty drawback है, before that वो नहीं था.
Exactly. क्योंकि देखो टेक्निकली एक पॉइंट मेरा बात समझो, अदरवाइज क्या होगा ना, ये अनजस्ट एनरिचमेंट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि मैंने जो 30/6 से पहले जो माल है 2 तारीख को एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया 2 जुलाई को, उसका ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक भी नहीं देंगे आप मेरे को, रिफंड भी नहीं देंगे, मतलब वो पैसा कहां से लाऊं मैं?
True. Agreed, sir.
Yes, Neha, please go ahead.
Yeah. There is a lag that is happening. Okay. Now, issues in determination of relevant date. Section 54(3) we have already discussed. So, Section 54(3) is unutilized input tax credit. So that you can claim refund of unutilized input tax credit where you have made any zero-rated supplies or where credit has accumulated on account of inverted duty structure. Now, there is a section, there is an explanation 2E, which before 1st of February 2019 used to read as, in case the refund of unutilized input tax credit under subsection 3, the relevant date would be the end of the financial year in which such claim for refund arises. So it said that if you have refund of unutilized input tax credit under subsection 3 covers zero-rated supplies as well as inverted duty structure, then your relevant date is the end of the financial year in which such claim for refund arises. Okay, so if I have inverted duty in April 18, or if I made exports without payment, then my relevant date would be April 18, the end of the financial year would be March 19. So 2 years I get to claim my refund. Okay. Now what was happening was this was subsequently amended. Why was this amended? Was if you see explanation 2A and 2C, they cover relevant date for goods exported and also services exported. Now they covered goods exported on account of refund of tax paid or otherwise. So whether you have exported with payment or without payment, you could fall in 2A. Also in case of services, whether you have exported with payment or without payment, you could fall under explanation 2C. So relevant date, there was overlapping in case of unutilized input tax credit. You were falling in 3 places where you had made exports without payment. Okay. Now, so to remove that overlapping that was happening with respect to relevant date, they amended 2E and said that relevant date means in case of refund of unutilized input tax credit under clause 2 of the first proviso to subsection 3. So that is only inverted duty structure. Okay. The due date for furnishing of return under section 39 for the period in which such claim for refund arises. So then what they did was that explanation 2E was restricted only to refund under inverted duty structure. Now, this amendment was carried out to remove the overlapping provisions to determine the relevant date in case of export of goods and services. So now the question arises that can a person take benefit of provision for refund claims filed after 1st of February 2019 but pertains to refunds of earlier period? So where someone makes exports without payment and that person has not filed a refund claim, thinking that they have 2 years from the end of the financial year. Now suddenly this provision comes, and the refund has become time barred. So can this person take benefit of refund claim filed after 1st of February, but the refund pertains to the earlier period? Is something that clarification is needed on the same, because there have been cases where people have not filed refund thinking that their case would fall under the previous explanation, as it relates to the refund period prior to 1st of February 2019. Okay, also now people who are making supplies to SEZ without payment of taxes were using the relevant date as per explanation 2E, which covered both zero rated as well as inverted duty structure. But now after this got amended, I cannot find a relevant date for exports by, supplies by DTA to SEZ without payment. So, any discussion on this?
No. Very clearly you have explained, and I think Shivani ma'am has some discussion.
Sir, इस पे discussion in the sense it's a little on the different topic. मेरा बीच में मैं log off कर गई थी. Sneha, you just spoke about relevant date, right? I just wanted to understand, it's not got anything to do with the relevant date concept. It's more to do with the authority, because I'm personally facing an issue wherein it's an NRI where we applied for a refund, and the center says that it falls in the jurisdiction of the state, and the state has clearly said that it falls within the jurisdiction of the center. So since we are discussing refund, just wanted to know your thoughts and the August audience ki how should one deal with this? जब jurisdiction ही नहीं पता हो, like कि भाई कहाँ पे आपका refund fall करेगा?
I have not dealt with this personally.
And I have written communication from the center that it falls with the state, and this written communication from the state that it falls with the center. So, such is the dichotomy. I mean, since we are dealing with refund, I just thought that maybe if someone wants to throw some light on my issue, because I'm still struggling to find out what to do.
So, we have an option over there wherein the jurisdictional office is specified there, because center या state दोनों में से एक चीज red mark किया हुआ रहता है, jurisdictional office लिखा हुआ रहता है.
It's an NRI issue, so in all probability वो center ही था, but the center says it's assigned to the state, and they've given us a written communication, and the state also says that it's assigned to the center, and also they mention what range, etc. Everything. And issue ऐसा था कि हमने रिफंड अप्लाई किया था, हमारे एक्सेस कैश लेजर में रुपए रखे हुए थे, अब वो रिजेक्ट भी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं क्योंकि they don't even know how to accept application. And my
Shivani, if I remember correctly, there was a circular to this accord. इसमें ये लोग ने बोला था कि if it goes to the state, even though the jurisdiction of the center, in that case the state should process the application. आपने वो circular कहीं पे रेफर किया, दिखाया था क्या?
नहीं, I'm not even aware of any such circular.
I'll see to it. एक बार मैं आपको फिर offline इसको बताता हूँ, because I remember कि ऐसा कुछ गया है.
ठीक है, okay. Thank you, Shubham.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to section 77 of the CGST Act. The section 77 of the CGST Act I am discussing because it seems to be a very wide section. I mean, doesn't seem like there is any restriction on this, but there is a restriction on this section. Let's see. So section 77 is where a registered person who had paid CGST, SGST, as the case may be, on a transaction considered by him to be an intrastate supply, but subsequently it was held to be an interstate supply. Okay, so where he wrongly paid CNS instead of IGST, so then the department says that that amount will be refunded back to him and he shall pay the correct taxes without having to pay interest on the same. Okay, and vice versa is the case in 77(2), that where you pay suppose you pay IGST, but subsequently it was held to be intra-state supply. Okay. So now here what I want everyone to focus on is that this section 77 says on a transaction considered by him to be intra or inter. Okay. Now what had happened, there is this case law, Sri Nanak Ferro Alloy versus Union of India, High Court of Jharkhand. What had happened in this case was that the petitioner had correctly filed his GSTR1 showing correct liability of CGST, SGST and IGST. Okay. However, while filing GSTR3B, what it did was inadvertently it underreported IGST and overreported CGST, SGST. Now this was paid through cash ledger. Okay, the taxpayer had paid that excess CGST and SGST from cash ledger and not accumulated ITC. Then subsequently, on scrutiny by the department of his GSTR1 and 3B, it was observed that he had short paid IGST, and the petitioner then was asked to pay IGST along with interest. So then what the petitioner said was that he said that I should be falling under section 77, but the department said that section 77 is only for those transactions that are considered to be intra or inter, but subsequently held to be inter or inter. Okay, so in your case, you had correctly filed GSTR1. So it cannot be said that such a transaction was considered by you to be an inter or intra, whatever the case might be, as you had correctly filed your GSTR1. So then what the High Court held was that in this case, the petitioner had paid the excess CGST and SGST out of his cash ledger and not credit ledger. So it is a genuine case and the petitioner can avail the benefit of section 77. He shall pay the liability without interest and get a refund of the wrongly paid taxes. Okay, so now I will tell you that in case, suppose there is a case where you have to pay CGST and SGST, you have a lot of accumulation of SGST. Okay, so what you do is that you pay IGST through CGST and SGST, and then later on you think now I will pay the correct taxes once you get the monies under C and S and take benefit under this section 77. So we need to keep in mind that this section 77, ultimately we would have to prove that how this transaction was considered by us to be intra or inter, whatever the case might be. So I just wanted to highlight that this section is a little restrictive in nature. Any questions on this? Because I am done with this 77.
So Sneha, even here the refund would be obviously subject to the 2 years limitation period, right?
Section 77 is refund, yeah, 2 years from the relevant date.
So the relevant date would be the date of payment?
Relevant date in this case.
I think, sir, bataiye, Banka ji.
Shivani Di, I had a case in this situation wherein I had considered a transaction to be C plus S.
Haan ji.
I believe it to be C plus S, but not I means the client, but in actually it is a case of IGST.
Haan.
The department has given me an inquiry letter as of now, not even show cause. But the problem is it pertains to 1718. The section 77 prima facie, I believe, would be used at the time of assessments. It generally happens after a period of 2 years on an average. So now what is happening, even if we want to go for a refund, we cannot go because it is, even if the show cause is there or even if the order is there, even if the officer passes the order, the relevant date would be 2 years from the date of payment. However, if I litigate the order in original, and then I lose in first appellate authority, then my relevant date becomes the date of
order.
What do you say? The order. That too.
Nice. So here you are giving me an example. Here आप मुझे गगन एक एग्जांपल दे रहे हो जहाँ पे डिपार्टमेंट ने बाद में असेसमेंट करके आपके ऊपर एजुकेशन की शुरू किया है. Now let's take a different case wherein, say for instance, in respect to financial year 18-19, today I myself as an assessee realized that I should have paid IGST and instead I have paid wrongly CGST and SGST. So I choose to pay the correct tax, which is IGST, and I now wish to claim a refund of the incorrect C and S that I had paid in the financial year 18-19.
Right.
So I wanted to know that when we talk about refund of this wrongfully paid tax in the financial year 18-19, say for instance, if we talk about the financial year 18-19, the month of April. So what would be the relevant date?
From your date of payment.
The date of payment.
See, I'll tell you, today I was discussing this with Shubham as well. This 77, I was under the belief that this provision will be effected at the time of assessment at the initiation of the officer. But the collection,
so I can take the benefit of 77.
ऐसा कुछ लिखा नहीं, I can always do it suo moto. But the first part of that 77, that collection of the wrongly paid tax, officer अपने time से कर लेगा. But the second part, which is claiming that refund, if you look at all the provisions of refund, the relevant date, मतलब under no circumstances, if you try to claim this refund after 2 years, you can claim it. So if we wait,
anyway, this will be subject to the concept of unjust enrichment, right? I'll have to first refund the money to my recipient, and only then can I go ahead and claim the refund.
That will not be there. We are working on an opinion for that, because you are already paying it again. So unjust enrichment यहाँ पे आएगा नहीं. And that too, अगर अपने वो वाला देखेंगे ना provision, the rule 89(2)L, which asks for a CA certificate or a self-declaration की unjust enrichment है कि नहीं. So that particular requirement of CA certificate is not there for refunds of section 77. It is categorically mentioned over there.
Acha, but then tell me something. Anyway, you'll have to first pay the correct taxes and then go ahead and claim a refund. At least on that front, you have to first pay out.
First pay. But my point is, if we are doing this exercise after 2 years from the date of payment, the wrong head,
then it's futile.
Cannot go for a refund.
ठीक है. वो तो वही मेरा question.
So मतलब there is a point where your 2 years is counted from the date of order, higher authorities order. But that over there as well, it is mentioned if the refund is the consequence of that order.
Then it is 2 years from the order. Otherwise, it becomes
but in our
order.
case, the refund is not because of consequence of that order. So हम वो order का भी 2 साल का benefit नहीं ले पाएंगे. So 77, मतलब it's like a sharp edge sword जो अपने को अभी दिख रहा नहीं है, but 2 साल में अपने अगर refund वाला provision नहीं लेते हैं, so some of the time assessee feels कि अभी तो छोड़ो, जब बाद में department मांगेगा तब refund ले लेंगे, but बाद में refund नहीं मिलेगा इस केस में. We have to be proactive in claiming this refund portion. तो उसके लिए पहले खुद दे के हाथों हाथ अभी refund लेंगे तो मिल जाएगा. बाद में relevant date doesn't help.
Okay, thank you.
Refund of unutilized ITC of SEZ. So now there are 2 judgments on this. One is Britannia Industry Limited, which went to the Gujarat High Court, and then there is Vachi International, which is Andhra Pradesh Appellate Authorities. Now, in Britannia Industry, the facts of the case is that the SEZ had received IGST input tax credit from an ISD. Okay. Then the SEZ applied for a refund, but that refund got rejected because it was held that supplies to SEZ are 0 rated and refund should be filed by the supplier. Court held that ISD cannot file a refund on ITC distributed. SEZ is entitled to take such refund as there is no specific supplier who can claim the refund. Mere lack of procedure could not be used to deny refund. So basically the argument by the department was that when supplies are made to an SEZ, they are supposed to be zero rated supplies. So there is no question of SEZ claiming a refund of unutilized input tax credit. But in this case, the supplier was a input service distributor. So an input service distributor cannot even be called as a supplier. An input service distributor is simply distributing the input service credit. So now the the court held that in such a case, as there is no specific supplier, the SEZ can take a refund of the unutilized input tax credit. Now, what happened in case of Vachi International India Private Limited? The facts of the case are different. Here, the SEZ, the SSE was an SEZ unit, which was engaged in export of goods. It procured certain goods from supplier in DTA. So the supplier over here is a regular supplier located in DTA, wherein the supplier charged IGST on the invoice and collected the same from the SEZ unit. Now, when the SEZ unit was making export, it filed for a refund. However, the claim was rejected on the ground that refund is available to the supplier who makes supplies to SEZ and not the SEZ itself. Aggrieved by the order, the SSE preferred an appeal. However, the appellant authority observed that on a conjoint reading of 89 and 54, it is unambiguous that only the supplier to SEZ can claim refund and not SEZ unit itself. So in the second case, what happened was that the DTS made certain supplies to the SEZ. The SEZ unit tried to claim a refund while exporting. However, the claim was rejected on the ground that SEZ is not the supplier and only a supplier of zero rated can claim refund. So refund of unutilized ITC of SEZ, we have two judgments, one which allows and the other one which does not allow refund. But the first one, Britannia Industry Limited, is restricted to only where the supplier was input service distributor. Non-adherence to refund timelines. Jian International versus Commissioner of Delhi, GST, Delhi High Court. So now the time limits under GST is that you file RFD 01 and within 15 days of filing of RFD 01, what you get is either an acknowledgement in RFD 02 stating that all that your refund is complete in all aspects, or if in case there is any deficiency, then you get a RFD 03 issued. So this thing should be issued to you within 15 days of you filing form GST RFD 01. Okay. Now, in case of Jian International, this time limit was not adhered to. The Delhi High Court took a very strict view. It said that since neither neither deficiency memo nor an acknowledgement was given within 15 days, this refund application would be presumed to be complete in all aspects. And the court directed that the refund be paid along with interest. Okay. So risky exporters. Right now, a lot of refund is being withheld because those exporters are being classified by the Customs Department as risky exporters. Okay, and there's a circular 131 which says that in case you are classified as a risky exporter, then what is to be done? So in that, it states that once you are classified as a risky exporter, You fill in form as per Annexure 1 of the said circular and submit it to the jurisdictional officer. He will verify it in 14 days. In case the verification needs to be further verification needs to be done, then it will be done by the jurisdictional principal chief within 7 days. However, practically this is not happening, and a lot of time is being taken for such risky exporters to get their name cleared. So there is this judgment, Mom Cradle Private Limited versus Union of India, where similar thing had happened to them. So the department, as I said, practically takes a lot of time in this case. So the Delhi High Court directed the concerned respondent authorities to decide the question of release or otherwise of IGST as early as possible. So I think we can use this case law wherever such a thing is happening. Okay. So now any discussion is to be done up till now, or should I go ahead?
Hello.
Yeah, should I go ahead?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So couple of things that are to be kept in mind while filing export refund. So what happens is that the ISGate portal checks whether whatever invoice, whether your GSTR 1, whether your GSTR 3B is more than or equal to the tax amount as per GSTR 1. So whenever you're filing any refund, make sure that you have paid all your taxes in case of with payment, and then you file your GSTR 3B, otherwise it won't get processed. Secondly, this is shipping bill number, date, invoice, and invoice number, date, port code, etc. should match between the shipping bill and the GSTR 1. So in case there is a mismatch, then your refund will not get processed. So make sure that all the details in your GSTR 1 is correctly filled. Okay. In case there is any amendment that needs to be done within the shipping bill, then you have to get it done at the customs port. Now, what was happening was there was this error code SB005, which used to occur when there was a mismatch in the invoice. Now, either you have not filled your GSTR 1 properly, or else you use two sets of invoice, one commercial invoice and one that you used for your GSTR 1 purposes. Okay, so now because of this mismatch, what was happening was that the refund was not getting sanctioned. So the latest that I know of is that in April 2020, they said that for all the shipping bill up to 31st December 2019, you can file a concordance table where you will map all the invoices in GSTR1 against what should be the invoice number in your shipping bill. What are the invoice number as per the shipping bill? Okay, and any error. Okay, now also in case you're not getting a refund, then those error you can see on the ISGate portal in the ISGate validation inquiry and GST inquiry tab and find out what is the error. Now I'll just discuss a few error codes that are there and how you can resolve it. If it's SB000, then that means it has been successfully validated. If it's SB001, then that means that there is invalid shipping bill details. So you can make correction in your GSTR1 and match your shipping bill details. If the error code is 002, then that means that EGM has not been filed and you need to tell the customs department to file the same. 003 GSTIN mismatch, again you need to get the same rectified. 004 record already received and validated, that means it's a duplication error, you have already put that invoice earlier. Okay, one thing, how do you check for these errors? is that you go onto the iSCATE portal, you log into it, and there is a IGST validation inquiry. There you can see which kind of error is popping up, and based on that, you can take the action. 005 we have already discussed, ki invalid invoice number. So GSTR 1, either you'll have to correct that, and in case there is something, in case you're issuing 2 sets of invoice, then you will have to submit a concordance table. And then 006 is gateway EGM not available. So online you will have to update the EGM details. Okay. Now, refund claim filed as nil. Now, what was happening was that many taxpayers were inadvertently filing a nil refund. So what used to happen was that when you would select a tax period and whatever category of tax you want to file, it would ask, do you want to file a nil refund? And yes tab used to be highlighted. And a lot of people made that error and filed nil refund. This has now been changed, and you can see a no highlighted right now. So now what can that person do? So if in case you file a nil refund, so what can you do? In case you file a nil refund, then the taxpayer can file refund as in any other category for the same category of refund. So in case you had claimed a refund of inverted duty structure as April, you had filed it as nil April 18, then subsequently you want to file it again. So then you go to any other category, give all your supporting documents, and go ahead and file your refund application. Now, when you see that any other category, you will notice that it'll ask you what is the reason for you to file that, and it'll ask for supporting document and how much amount of refund you want from and from which ledger. However, when you file that, it will not automatically debit your electronic credit ledger. So it is only after you file it that the proper officer will go through the entire he will go through the entire application of yours, and then if he feels that it is okay, he will ask you to debit your electronic credit ledger through form GST DRC 03 through DRC 03. Okay. One thing that I would like to bring to your notice is that in case you have filed a nil refund, so say for April 18 you filed a nil refund by mistake, then you can, in case the refund is on account of unutilized ITC, then you have to make sure that you have not filed a refund for the subsequent period in the same category. So for May 18, you have to make sure that you have not filed a refund application in May 18 for under inverted duty structure. Now, why this restriction has been placed, I am not sure. Okay. Any one wants to add on this? Okay. I'll go ahead then. Time limit for filing refund application deficiency memo. Now, Circular 125 made it clear that in case a deficiency memo is issued to you in RFD 03, then you will have to resubmit the application. You should clear all the deficiency and resubmit that refund application after correcting the deficiency. Now, the circular says that now after you file this application again, it will be treated as a fresh refund application. Okay, so since it will be treated as a fresh refund application, then the relevant date of 2 years will also be applicable from this fresh refund application. So you should make sure that you don't wait till the end moment to file your refund application, as a deficiency, in case deficiency is issued to you in RFD 03, you would have to file a fresh application, and then they would see whether you are falling within that relevant dates within relevant date. Okay. However, to the taxpayers' rescue, there are a lot of judgment in the erstwhile regime, wherein it was held that the original date of filing of application should be taken, like Goodyear Rubber Wood Repro India Limited. So in all these cases, it was held that refund is a substantial right, and the refund where a deficiency is issued, then in such a case, what is happening is that they are denying my refund, and then I'm filing a new refund. So technically, and then they reject it, saying that it was not within the due date. So technically, I did not get any opportunity to correct myself. Okay, now non-requirement of LUT or bond in case of exports. Now, when you make exports without payment, then you need to furnish an LUT or bond. However, in case where you're making an export of exempt supply, then as per then a circular was issued 125, which stated that in case your export are exempt, then there is no need of you to furnish an LUT or bond, as anyways those supplies are exempt. Then late furnishing of LUT, whether you can furnish your LUT at a later date. So you make an export today. Right now you don't have an LUT. So you think that, so you might be of a view that, okay, now I have to make exports with payment only, but no, you can make exports without payment and then apply for the LUT at a later date. You will find the reference of this in circular 125 itself. Also, there are a few judgments where it was held that goods were exported, but the appellant did not renew the LUT for the period covered. The same could not be considered as a ground for denial of refund. Okay. Now, again, in case of well-known polymers, it was held that LUT was only a procedural act for which refund of SENVAT credit could not be denied. Okay, now this is now when we file for a refund claim. Okay, so how much is the refund that a taxpayer is eligible? He will get balance in the electronic credit ledger at the end of the tax period, or balance in the electronic credit ledger at the time of filing refund, or refund claim as per the formula. So lower of the three. So now what was happening was, so now in this case, as you can see, balance is electronic credit ledger at the end of tax period is 10 lakhs. Balance in electronic credit ledger at the time of filing is 8 lakhs. Now, initially what was happening was the department, now the low, if you see lower of the two on an aggregate basis, it is 8 lakhs. Now, what was happening in the portal was that it was calculating this headwise. So IGST lower of the two, as you can see in my example, is 0 over here. And then CGST, SGST lower of the two is 0, 0. Okay. So in that case, you don't get any refund. That was what was happening. However, subsequently, they corrected that mistake. And now they calculate the lower of the two on an aggregate basis. And now in this example, as you can see, the lower of the two is 8 lakhs and you would get a refund of 8 lakhs. Okay, now one thing that people need to keep in mind while they file a claim of refund is that when there is a claim of refund of unutilized ITC, you are first supposed to exhaust the integrated tax to the extent the balance available. Then you move on to CGST and SGST. So then you claim a refund of CGST and SGST equally, but in an event of shortfall in a particular head, that shortfall will be debited from the other electronic ledger head. Okay, so if there is a shortfall, then you go to the other head. Otherwise, it'll be CGST, SGST equally. Now, also one thing that we need to keep in mind is that when we are filing a claim for refund, in case the product that we are selling does not attract any cess, can I take a refund of cess in my input tax credit that is there? So the answer is yes, I can take a refund of that cess, and that refund of cess I have to calculate it separately and take a and debit my electronic credit ledger with that much amount. Now we come to certain recent changes in the refund process. Okay, a requirement of checking date of realization of export proceeds in case of export of goods. So earlier, whenever you made an export of goods, there was no requirement of realization of export proceeds. However, now you need to realize your export proceeds as per the guidelines issued by FEMA. When you go to FEMA, the FEMA gives reference to RBI, and it says that normally it's 9 months from the date you export, you should make your realization. Now, because of COVID, there was a circular that was issued that said that for all your exports up till 30th June, I suppose, 30th June 2020, you have the liberty to realize your exports within 15 months from the date of export. Clubbing of refund between financial year is allowed. So earlier what used to happen was that if I had inputs of January, February, March and out, but exports only in March, then I could not claim a refund of the of January and February. So I could claim refund only in the month I made exports. Then once this restriction was removed, another restriction came which says that, so in that what happened was that if I had ITC for January, February, March, April, and I had exports only in the month of April, then because it was 2 different financial year, I could not claim refund of the previous months, that is January, February, March. So then a decision came wherein it was said that how an exporter is supposed to do his business cannot be governed by the department, and eventually they removed this restriction. So now clubbing can be done between months, financial year, everything can be clubbed as per the wish of the exporter. Also, a new condition has been added wherein valuation of export supply has been given. It says that the value of export supplies cannot be more than 1.5 times the value of domestic supplies. I will discuss it in detail in a later slide. Now, there is a requirement of disclosing HSN code on inward supplies in your refund application. Earlier, whenever you gave the inward register, requirement of HSN was not there. But now they inserted that because they want to see whether that goods is a capital goods or not. Okay, and based on that, or is it input service in case of inverted duty? So based on that, they have started issuing show cause notice. They study your HSN and issue show cause notice. The circular does not in any way say that how many digit HSN are you supposed to provide. Now that from 1st April, everyone would be required to give 4, like as in the 2 HSN digit has been done away with, and whoever had to give 2 digit has to now give 4 digit. We'll have to see whether they would ask for a 4 digit HSN as mandatory or not. Now, denial of refund if inward supply invoice not appearing in GSTR 2A. Now, if you see this circular gives a reference, so it says that you can claim refund of only those invoices that are appearing in your 2A. And they said that this change that we are bringing is so that we get it in line with 36.4. However, even in Rule 36.4, it says that you are allowed to claim credit up till 10% of those invoices which are not appearing in 2A. Earlier 20, it was 20, then subsequently it became 10%. So how are they denying inward supply, ITC refund of, how are they restricting the refund only to those invoices that are appearing in GSTR 2A is something that I fail to understand. Also, in case of export of service, matching of, okay, now one more thing I would like to say is that in case you have made payment under RCM, be it any RCM, even if it's import of goods, then also matching is not required with GSTR 2A. So that one point I wanted to tell you. Now, in case of export of services, matching of every invoice with respective BRC is no longer required. Matching needs to be done month-wise. So there is a change in the offline utility. Earlier, it required that every invoice of yours should be matched with the BRC. So if you have one invoice, then you have to say, okay, I'm using these three invoices, three BRCs against it, and mention all those three BRCs and match the invoices with the BRC. However, that matching right now is not required. You just need to tell them for the month, what are your invoices and what are the BRCs that you want to use against those invoices. Refund to be allowed in proportion to ITC and cash under head from which paid. So now what does this say is that in case you have made excess payment of cash, excess payment of tax. So earlier what used to happen was that when you would claim a refund of that excess portion of tax payment, then you would get that refund from in cash. However, now the department says that in case you make any excess payment of tax, then through whatever means you made payment, your refund would go in that mean, like in that proportion. So if you have made payment by cash and credit both, then the amount of cash that you use would be refunded to you, and the amount of credit that you used for making payment of your outward liability, that would be refunded in credit. Okay. Okay, now recovery of refund on goods where export proceeds are not realized. Like I said that a refund of ITC or tax paid on export of goods if sales proceeds not realized within a period allowed by FEMA. So whether you are doing, whether you're claiming refund of unutilized ITC or if you are claiming with payment of taxes, you have to make sure that you realize your sales proceed within the time period as allowed under FEMA, which is 9 months generally. The as per the RBI guidelines, the person to deposit the amount so refunded. So whatever amount you got as which you had claimed as refund, in case you are not able to realize your proceeds, then that entire amount you will have to give back to the department with the applicable interest within 30 days of expiry. Then where the RBI writes of the requirement of realization on merits, refund not to be recovered. Okay, so in case where the RBI says that okay, you do not need to realize this amount, then in that case you, even if you have not realized the amount, your refund will not be recovered. Where the sale proceeds realized by the applicant and the applicant produces evidence within 3 months from the date of realization, the amount recovered shall be refunded if RBI allows extended period of realization. So in case if you're not able to realize the proceeds and you later on realize it, then you should make an application within 3 months that yes, I have realized it. Then that amount will be refunded to you. However, that extended period of time limit for recovery should be allowed by RBI. So you need to approach to the RBI in case you're not able to realize it, asking for extension of time period. Now, valuation of export turnover. Now, in case where you are claiming a refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of export of goods and the value declared in tax invoice is different from that is declared in the shipping bill, then your refund would be limited to the FOB value or to the invoice value, whichever is lower. Another thing that restricts the value is value of the value of zero rated supply of goods, means the value of zero rated supply of goods made during the relevant period without payment of tax under bond or LUT, or the value, now this is inserted newly, or the value which is 1.5 times the value of like domestically supplied by the same or similarly placed supplier as declared by the supplier, whichever is less. So when I make exports, now what I need to check is that my value of export turnover should be lower of my invoice or FOP. The second check that I need to put is that in case I am also supplying these goods domestically, then I need to check whether the rate exceeds 1.5 times. In case it exceeds 1.5 times, then I have to restrict it to 1.5 times the value of likely domestic goods supplied. Now, if I'm domestically supplying, then it's really not a problem for me. But in case I'm not supplying, then to get this value 1.5 times would be a little challenging for me. In case of a trader, it is still easy, as that trader can just see the rate as per his purchase invoices. But in case where a person is a manufacturer and not even supplying domestically, this would be a little challenging for him to find out who would be similarly placed supplier. Okay, now refund on cancellation of contract. So the Act says that you can claim a refund where you have not issued the invoice and services have not been rendered. So where advance is received by the supplier but no invoice is issued. So when you have received an advance, you give a receipt voucher, but invoice you have not issued, then he must claim refund by filing form GST RFD 01 under category refund of excess payment of tax. If in case the supplier has received an advance and issued invoice, okay, or in case there is no advance and there is issuance of invoice, basically wherever there is issuance of invoice, then the supplier should issue a credit note and then subsequently adjust that credit note against his GSTR 3B return. Now it might so happen that in his GSTR 3B there is no liability. So in that case, he is not able to adjust it against in his 3B return. Then in such a case, what he is supposed to do is that he is supposed to file form GST RFD 01 under excess payment of taxes. Yeah, that's it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, just a second. Am I visible?
Yes,
yeah,
you
you are
are
Am I
visible.
visible?
Yes, you are
Yes, you are
visible,
visible.
Miss Sneha.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you,
where
Miss
are the
Sneha.
questions?
I am asking by speaking, not by writing.
Yes, please go ahead.
You have given a very valuable deliberate on this. I am very much thankful to you, Miss Sneha.
Thank you.
Just I just I have few questions. Suppose
Yeah.
suppose we have made some exports under LUT, but we have not mentioned shipping bill details in the GSTR 1,
Right.
and so means what can be the consequences while filing RFD 01?
No, so if you have not mentioned the shipping bill details at all, if possible, you mention it right now, because even if you see, even after September, they do allow you to put the shipping bill details, because once you file the RFD 01, you have to fill an offline utility. So that offline utility also requires you to fill the shipping bill details, and then it verifies the details from your GSTR 1. So, like, I know that you can make amendments only till September, but in this case, shipping bill, we have seen that we can put the details even after 2 years. So, in case your so just try putting it in your GSTR1. In case you get any deficiency memo or gets rejected or something, then you can just reply saying that we have now put in the shipping bill details, or you just submit to them that offline utility post put. Then all your supportings you'll have to make it really strong. Give them all the shipping bill and all. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Sneha,
So
may I add something over here?
Yeah, sure.
I think table number 6A is dynamic. It is not related with the returns. If you have filed the
Yeah,
return, table 6A
exactly.
is still
So
open.
we are
So
even
if
like
you missed
even
out
after
shipping bill, yes, even after then you can amend your
you
table
can
6A and you put the
amend it,
shipping bill number.
right? So we have seen cases where even after two years we put, and like it is taking it.
Nilesh, you can update your 6A at any time. It is you need not to wait for the returns.
हाँ मैं समझ गया. तो फिर मतलब अभी फिर यही ठीक रहेगा कि मैं मतलब टेबल नंबर 6 को अपडेट करने के बाद फिर मैं RFD 01 फाइल करूं.
परफेक्ट.
अच्छा, फिर मतलब इस केस में रेलिवेंट डेट क्या होगा?
तो आपने क्या
यस मैम प्लीज,
आपने क्या चीज एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स है आपका कि सर्विसेज है, उस पे डिपेंड करता है.
गुड्स है
तो आपका फिर रेलेवेंट डेट जैसे हमने पहले डिस्कस किया कि अगर इफ इट इज अ पीरियड बिफोर 1/2/2019, फिर भी क्या डिपार्टमेंट विल ऑब्वियसली होल्ड द व्यू दैट यू वुड फॉल इन एक्सप्लेनेशन 2A, and it is from where you ship it. Shipping time से 2 years है आपका relevant date.
शिपिंग टाइम से 2 years.
Yeah, so आपका 54 में explanation में clause
मतलब कि मैं समझ लूं डेट ऑफ शिपिंग बिल से
no Nilesh ji, I am clarifying you whatever the relevant date, even if you have reported in GSTR1, that will be treated as the relevant date for the even after the amendment in table 6A. It has no relevancy for changing the relevant date if you have not reported in GSTR1 earlier and later on you have amended. Am I clear?
थैंक यू. हाँ, क्लियर. एक और क्वेश्चन है. मैंने एक एक्सेस टैक्स का मतलब पेमेंट कर दिया. आउटपुट टैक्स का कैलकुलेशन गलत हो गया. थोड़ा सा मेरा आउटपुट टैक्स का कैलकुलेशन ज्यादा हो गया, तो एक्सेस टैक्स का पेमेंट कर दिया. पेमेंट हुआ while means utilization of means मतलब credit. I have not मतलब paid in tax. तो फिर उसमें फिर मतलब relevant date हो गया पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स, मतलब कि फाइलिंग ऑफ 3B,
यस
फाइलिंग
यस
ऑफ 3B। और फिर
यस
और फिर मतलब अगर मैं फिर 2 साल के बीच में मैं फिर RFD 01 फाइल में कर देता हूँ, वो लोग का फिर कुछ क्वेरी आता है और फिर उस क्वेरी के बेसिस पे 2 साल का टाइम पीरियड निकल जाता है, तो फिर मतलब स्टिल क्या फिर मेरा वो RFD 01 फाइल किया हुआ वैलिड रहेगा?
देखिए, आपने जो RFD 01 फाइल किया है, उन्होंने RFD 02 आपको दे दिया क्या?
मैं अभी तक मैंने फाइल ही नहीं किया, मैं भी फाइल करूंगा।
पहले फाइल कीजिए, इसका प्रोसेस को समझिए। रिफंड एप्लीकेशन के लिए सबसे पहले आपको RFD 01 फाइल करना पड़ेगा। फाइल करने के बाद में वो RFD 02 आपको एज एक्नॉलेजमेंट देंगे। बिफोर दैट दे विल नॉट रेज एनी क्वेरी, राइट? Once they have issued the RFD 02, they can raise the query in RFD 09 only.
हाँ,
RFD 09 देने के बाद अगर वो क्वेरी देते हैं, you need to reply in RFD 08.
अच्छा, इसमें
RFD 01 के लिए टाइम लिमिट है 2 साल का, प्रोसेस करने के लिए नहीं है। प्रोसेस तो वो लोग करते रहेंगे और आराम से।
अच्छा, ठीक है।
Am I clear?
क्लियर सर, क्लियर।
Divajyoti Majumdar, please kindly unmute yourself. Divajyoti Majumdar, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Please raise your questions.
So I had one question that export proceeds. Firstly, the question is related to export of service under LUT. So invoice was raised in say 1st of January 2019, and the export proceeds have been realized in May 2019. So my question is that ITC for this invoice will be for which financial year, and what will be the relevant date?
So your relevant date would be counted from 2 years from the date of receipt of your proceeds. Okay, so it is later of the 2 events. So you raised your invoice in January. However, you got your this thing realization in May. So the relevant date would be the later of the 2, that is May. Okay. Then with regards to ITC, in case you are filing from May, January, you can file from January to May and claim all the ITC because your realization was in May. So you would be filing so for January you did not file anything. So then you can you file a refund from January to May, and then all the ITC you can claim.
But ma'am, if I choose not to file for clubbing of years, if I want to go for one financial year, then
you will lose out on, you will file a nil refund for that. Then ITC, which whatever was there from Jan to March, that if you file a nil refund, then it will not, like, you won't get a refund of that. Okay, ma'am.
Another question was there that if a refund application is rejected by the officer, then can I go for
like RFD 06 was issued to you?
Yeah, there is a formal rejection. After issuing show cause notice, the reply was not satisfactory. Therefore, the officer has rejected.
RFD 06 was issued. Okay.
So can I go for rectification of order like income tax or appeal or both?
You can go for an appeal. Right now, there is no procedure to rectify your refund. You will have to go for an appeal.
Okay. Ma'am, thirdly, I understand that the refund process is online as for various circular and clarification. But
what is online?
Refund process is totally automatic and online.
Yeah, but appeal right now, you will not see any online, like you will not be able to file it online.
No, I am not talking about appeal. Like
Okay.
refund process is online, but department is sometimes calling for personal hearing. So how is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. No, so see, now they can definitely call you for a personal hearing. So what happens is once they give you an show cause notice, in that show cause notice, they can say that you can come for personal hearing. However, if you want, you don't attend the personal hearing. You give all your submissions online. So it is your right. You want, you can exercise that personal hearing right, or give all your submissions online and reply and waiver the right of personal hearing.
Ma'am, another question.
So when
Why
is he asking you for a personal hearing? Before issuing RFD 02 or what?
No, after issuing RFD 02 and also after RFD in the RFD 09, he is mentioning that either, as you said, either you appear or you
Yeah,
submit
okay.
the online reply.
Yeah.
Ma'am, another why ITC on capital goods is not allowed as refund?
I don't really have an answer to that.
Actually, that is a very pertinent question raised by you. This is the basically ultra virus to the act. Only under Rule 89 Sub Rule 3 or 89 Sub Rule 5, it is restricting the ITC on capital goods to be refunded. However, there is no such restriction in given under Section 54(3), and this matter is subjudiced before the High Court of the Gujarat, and we have to wait for the judgment from the Supreme Court and High Court. Till that time, it usually remain blocked.
Now, then who will determine what is capital good? Because the definition says that if I do not capitalize in my books and is used for business, then ITC
it is
should...
very much clear. It is very much clear in Section 2, subsection 19 regarding the capital goods. It says that capital goods means goods, the value of which is capitalized in the books of accounts. So whatever you have capitalized in the books of accounts, that is remains only capital goods.
Now, if I purchase some software for providing, say, software related service, but according to the officer, it is, and he finds the HSN code in Annex B, and according to him, it is capital good, but according to me, it is not a capital good. So then,
this is your call. This is your call. This is your call whether you have debited in profit and loss account or carry over under the fixed asset schedule. Officer cannot decide your books of accounts.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and thank you, madam, for your excellent deliberation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. And I think you have answered all the questions in our group. And it's already the 7:04. So I request Gagan. Gagan is here, na?
Yes, I am there.
Yeah. Please tender a vote of thanks on our behalf. I request you to please tender a vote of thanks on our behalf.
Thank you, Vikash Bhaiya. It is my pleasure. It is my personal pleasure as well that I am getting this opportunity of presenting the vote of thanks, especially for Sneha, because I have looked up to her. She has been my friend. I know she has excellent knowledge in this field, and today I can actually vouch by saying that yes, Sneha, you have done an excellent job in presenting the complete gist as well as the detailed case laws that you have given. That was truly commendable. I would like to
thank you,
Sneha. I would especially like to also thank the team of ACAE and the office bearers for organizing such a great initiative. I would also like to thank Vikash ji and Shivani Di for moderating this session today. And I would also like to thank Venugopal sir for his active participation. And last but not the least, to all the other participants for raising questions and having a patient listening. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for attending today's session, and special thanks again to Sneha for her excellent, crisp presentation.
Thank you so much.
And Sneha, from our side, this is a memento,
Thank you
presenting
so much.
our screen, and we will send by email also.
Thank you so
and
much,
one,
sir.
Welcome. And one, this much I can tell you, this is the great memento for you also, because Venugopal sir is given a comment that one more speaker from Calcutta.
Oh, that's really nice of him.
Venu sir, if you want to share some words over here, it will be very nice for us.
Sir, so Calcutta is becoming another knowledge hub on GST and indirect taxes, and the more and more speakers will actually produce the quality content. I'm very happy to though I missed out in between, but very nice deliberations, and I should appreciate Sneha for her meticulous job in presenting the whole of the material. Good job, Sneha madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sneha ma'am. Once again, I am very much thankful on behalf of our association for conducting and initiating today's discussion. And we will definitely
Sir,
call
my
you again
pleasure.
whenever you will free in future. Then definitely we will call you again.
Thank you so much, sir.
And I request all the participants kindly join us on group discussion on every Wednesday held by our association. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Sneha.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Gagan. Thank you, Gagan.
Thank you, Vikash bhaiya.